Okay, so when you look at the recording, it's going to be missing the statement that Krista has read, but fortunately, that statement exists elsewhere, and people will be able to see it. So, to begin with, I think I would like to take you on a quick tour of the book that we published about the exhibit. And that book contains all the artists and architects and all the items that are being exhibited there. And we will start by taking a quick look at the book, and we'll breeze through it fast, and then we'll come back and demonstrate some of the things that are not really visible in the book, things that are required, that are being displayed on computer screens. There are 8 computer screens in the exhibit. And just to begin with, if you look behind me, this is what the exhibit hall looks like. It's a very long hall. The ceilings are about 5 meters high, and that's like at least 15 feet high, maybe 16 or 17. It's made up of 2 walls on each side that are parallel. The entire size of the exhibit hall is 150 square meters, which is about 1,600 square feet. So think of a loft or an apartment that's 1,600 square feet. That is the size of the exhibit hall. On the walls, we have artwork, and on 3 of the walls, a 4th wall is dedicated for 7 computer screens, I should say. And there's a shelf that has photographs below the computer screens. As you enter the exhibit hall, you see on the floor a very large map of Palestine from 1948. And that map is 7 meters long by 2.5 meters wide. It has all the Palestinian towns and villages that existed in 1948 with their original names. It also includes any Zionist settlements that were in existence at that time. The map is large, and for most people with good eyesight, you'll be able to read the names of towns and villages. And if you're Palestinian, you can find your village by standing and looking down. If you wear glasses or have poor eyesight, you may have to squat down or sit down at the map and look for it. For most people, though, they can find it easily, a lot better than last year when we had a different kind of a 1877 map. On the other half of the floor, you can see here off my right shoulder, there is a disc that's 2 meters in diameter. That disc has a collage on it made of 1,000 photographs from the Great March of Return in Gaza that took place 2 or 3 years ago. That disc rotates constantly at 1 rotation per minute. That is the speed of a clock. Just like the way the clock rotates, this rotates the same way. All right, so let's delve into the book itself. This book has already been published, and it's a hardcover coffee table book that's 12-inch by 12-inch. We encourage people to buy the book, and you can put it right next to your fancy art books on your coffee table, and next to your embroidery books as well. So let's see if I can share the book here.
I just put a link to the book in the chat. It's on the Palestine Museum US website.
All right, so this is the page. We're in a 2-page view here, so we'll be looking at 2 pages at a time. And does everybody have a clear view of what I'm showing here? You may not be able to read the small text, but we're not going to be reading the text.
That's the statement that I just read, for
Yeah.
those of you who are wondering.
So now we go to the next page. And the next page has the project team. These are the two other architects. These are architects. I'm not an architect, that worked with me on the project and helped in the design and placement of the artwork and other related things. And here is the list of all the artists. And there's a special projects that were included in the artwork, what we call student projects. And these student projects are from 4 universities. I will enlarge the screen so we can see the universities and the student projects. And each project kind of revolved around taking a destroyed Palestinian village and redesigning it architecturally and replan the village and submitting that to a competition that was sponsored by Dr. Salman Abu Sitta's Palestine Land Society. And we selected 4 of these submissions that were winning submissions at one year or another. So one submission was for the village of Kula, and it's with a faculty advisor of Dr. Samar Nazir from Birzeit University, the village of Safuriya, and that was by the faculty advisor of architect Thaer Quba from German Jordanian University. And the student who was involved with the project is Nairuz Ali. And the first one, the student was architect Arwa Halalwa. And the third village was Soba, or Suba. And had a number of students worked on that, including Majd Jahshan, Dunya Salman, and Sajida Al-Aqruz. The faculty advisor was Dr. Maisa Al-Shomali from Al-Balqa Applied University in Jordan. Finally, the village of Sahmata project was with the students of Maha Mansour, Ala Hamad, and Asma As-Saqqa, and the faculty advisor was Dr. Sana Saleh from Islamic University of Gaza. And we will get to know all the artists and architects who participated in the project shortly here. And so we go to the next page. And this is, I guess we need to go back to the 2-page. So we need to make it smaller. Okay. So this is Dr. Salman Abu Sitta. Dr. Salman Abu Sitta, in addition to providing the student projects for us to use, also supplied us with the map that we printed and placed on the floor of the exhibit hall. That was the 7-meter map. And this is a photo of the map. So we go on to the next. So participant, Ghassan Abu Laban, is a Palestinian Jordanian artist. He teaches art at the University of Jordan in Amman. And this this piece of oil-based, oil on canvas piece is called Al-Jidar, the wall. Moving on. This is Ala Al-Baba. He is from Ramallah. His painting is called the Camp. It's part of a series of other similar paintings, all depict Palestinian refugee camps, colorized with brighter colors for inspiration and future hope.
Wow.
The next is Tala Al-Fuqaha. Tala is a young photographer. She has supplied 2 photographs from the Aida refugee camp near Bethlehem. In the bottom photograph, you could see that are on the wall that are paintings or graffiti images of Palestinian martyrs, and there are several of them there. I think in the book probably it puts the names of them. The next piece in the book, this is a continuous photograph. What we have is like, this is a proof of the book, a printer's proof, and the book looks continuous, one photo. And this is Nabil Anani, one of the top Palestinian artists. He lives in the Ramallah area, and his work here is a 3-meter wide Utopia number 7. This represents like how Palestine really looked before they started cutting up the hills and the mountains and putting settlements on them. Very, very
There are
beautiful.
still parts of Palestine that look like that, believe it or not.
I know they are, yes.
Deep in the West Bank. So this
Yeah,
is not just a figment of his imagination. This is
it also
this
looks
is
like
real.
it looks like southern Italy as well.
No
Very-
kidding.
They have these nice Italian cypress trees, very thin, tall cypress trees.
Called Sorro in Arabic.
Saro, yeah.
Sorro, Sorro.
The next piece here, it's called Siege, and it's by Samira Badran. Samira Badran is a Palestinian artist who resides in Spain, and it's part of a series of paintings and films or videos she made about checkpoints and other related issues. The next one is a painting by Shayma Farouqi. Shayma is the granddaughter of Dr. Hamdi Taji al-Farouqi, who was a very famous doctor originally in Jaffa, and after 48 he moved to the Ramallah area, and he was our family doctor in Jaffa and in Ramallah as well. At one point we lived in an apartment next to his office, across from the vegetable market in Ramallah. In Arabic it's called Al-Hisbeh. And the title, basically the painting is showing a grandfather and grandson on their way to plant an olive tree. And the title of it, The Will to Live. And here is a Norwegian photographer. His name is Jørgen Grind. In 1957, he was on the staff of the United Nations. And when the peacekeepers were deployed to parts of the Middle East, particularly in between Egypt and Israel and the Suez Canal, he was commissioned to take photographs of a lot of things, and among them the Palestinian refugee camps, and had these beautiful photographs that we are featuring at the exhibit, and we used some of them for the cover of the front and back covers of the book. This photograph is one of the refugee camps in Lebanon. And the person, the photographer, who was a Palestinian from lives in Beirut, I believe, Hanin Haidar, her name, and she has this incredible photograph that depicts how Palestinians live in these refugee camps in Lebanon. You could imagine what kind of life takes place with all these people putting their mattresses and blankets and things on their balconies to dry from whatever humidity that exists in their dwellings, and all the clutter.
Compare that to that image of the gorgeous landscape of Palestine, and just feel the sense of loss of quality of life.
Yeah.
It's just irreprehensible, honestly.
These works are basically watercolors on very thin fabric that Palestinian embroiders use when they're embroidering over on fabric that is thick and does not have threads to count and to place the stitches. And they superimpose that fabric on top of the main fabric, and they use it as a guide to do all the stitching. When they finish stitching, they pull out the threads out, and the thin fabric disappears, left with the embroidery on the intended fabric. If any of you have seen the film Stitching Palestine, you could see them there pulling these threads at the end of the film. This is by Jacqueline Dejani. Now, in addition to the watercolors, she sent these very long pieces. These are like, some of them are 3.5 meters and things like that. She sent them to refugee camps in Lebanon, where Palestinian women there added embroidery motifs to each one. Each one of these had the motif of one particular village. So there are 4 of these in the exhibit hall. This is Samia Halabi, one of the top Palestinian artists. At age 86, she has been painting for the last 50 years, and she has done more than 500 works of art so far. Beautiful piece. This is called Phoenician Red. She painted this specifically for the Venice exhibits. This is perhaps the most iconic piece in the exhibit, the most imposing piece. It's 7 meters wide. You can see it. It's broken in the picture, but it's actually one piece. The title of this drawing is Stripped of Their Identity and Driven Out of Their Homes. And this obviously refers to the Palestinian refugees. It's a very chilling photograph when you see it in person. It's 2 meters high, 7 meters wide. It takes up an entire wall. And the interesting part of it, the entire drawing was made with 2 rubber stamps. Each rubber stamp had 1 word on it. And one of the words was forgotten, and the other word is survivors. So forgotten survivors, these 2 words were used to make this entire painting. As you come close to it, as you can see in the close-up shots up here, you could almost see the words forgotten and the words survivors, and that's what makes up the entire piece. It's by John Halaka, and John is an art professor at University of San Diego. We shipped this from San Diego to Venice in a crate that was 105 inches long and weighed something like 85 kilos or something. It was very heavy. Of course, cost a lot of money to ship. Now, next here we have Margaret Olin, who was a retired professor from Yale University. And Margaret is passionate about the Palestinian cause. She goes to the Hebron Hills periodically, takes pictures. She is a photographer. And this photo is from a series of work she did at the Dheisheh refugee camp in Bethlehem. We selected this because really it represents a very unique perspective. It's Handala in the refugee camp with the drab walls and the depressing environment, opening the walls for beautiful color and colorful future there, as Handala is presenting. This painting is by Subhiyya Hassan Qais. Subhiyya is from the historic Palestine, 48 Palestine. In Arabic, we call it the Dakhil, the interior. And this is a depiction of the village, the depopulated village of Lifta. Lifta is near Jerusalem, and still till today there are no inhabitants. These are the houses the Palestinians lived in before 1948. And this particular piece is by Taqi Sabatin, and it also depicts a landscape of northern Palestine. This piece here is by Steve Sabella. This is the disc that rotates on the floor that you saw, and that is a collage of 1,000 photographs from the Great March of Return. This architect, Zain Ashraf Wahbe, had recreated the destroyed neighborhood of Al-Manshiyya in Jaffa. Al-Manshiyya was a thriving neighborhood of Jaffa that was destroyed in 1948. And through archival photographs and material, she recreated that. And we hope to have the time to show you a video of the virtual reality recreation of that neighborhood. This is Nisreen Zahda, another Palestinian architect who lives in Japan, Tokyo, Japan. And she has 4 works on exhibit. The first one, which is by far the most important, is an animation. It's a map animation of the Nakba, and we will be looking at that very shortly. More on that in a bit. And she also, using archival material, recreated 3 villages, the village of Zerain, the village of Hattin, and the village of Tantura, which was the subject of a film we screened a few months ago. We will try to look at these also. And now this is Ola Zerain, is an artist from the historic pre-48 Palestine, and her artwork there really depicts a refugee camp. You could see how crowded it is and how everything is piled up. Now these are the student projects. We have a little bit about each one: Kola, Safaria, Suba, and Sahmata. There's also some videos from each one we will take a look at quickly. And here we have a thank you to a whole lot of people. Okay, so this is the what we saw is the book. And I think I could probably show you let's see. We need to share. This is the cover of the book. This picture was taken in 1957 by the Norwegian photographer that we talked about. So these little girls are now in their mid-70s, and they're probably living in Gaza. And we hope that they're all alive, and we will be curious in what they're doing, what they look like. They look adorable in this picture. Okay, so now we want to go to, I'm going to get this out of the way. We are going to look at the animation, the map animation that we talked about, and that is monitor 5. There. So I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to do a share. Okay, and we will be sharing this. So what this is a timeline from December of 1947 to January of 1949, which is 14 months, during which 437 villages were depopulated and most of them destroyed. And this is probably the most chilling display of the Nakba. This brings home the scale, the incredible scale of the Nakba and the systematic process that the Zionists followed to destroy and take down these villages. And it really shows that the Zionists wanted to depopulate every Palestinian village and city and get rid of all Palestinians and drive them out of Palestine. And they weren't 100% successful, but they were successful to a great extent, maybe 80% or so. There were 800,000 Palestinians driven out of what became Israel, and about 150,000 that were left in as Palestinians living under Israeli rule until 1967, when Israel took over all of Palestine and all Palestinians were under Israeli rule. So, Krista, let me know if the audio is okay.
I will. Yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
So this is December 22nd, 1947.
I speeded up the pace to 1 times. We were doing it slow initially. There you seen. My village comes up on the 25th of April. It's called Selma. This is Haifa.
There it is.
There is Selma. Every Palestinian refugee from a refugee family has a date that comes up on this animation. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit in the interest of time.
So these are areas that were supposedly allocated to the Jewish state through the 1947 partition plan and the United Nations. Whether the United Nations had the right to decide that Palestine should be divided in the first place is a huge historical question.
Well, they did occupy areas that were not allocated under the UN.
Right. They went beyond that. And
Yeah.
you can see they systematically drove out Palestinians to create a Jewish majority in what they saw as their future state.
So this particular animation runs on a dedicated monitor. It monitors 50 inches on the wall, and it repeats every 10 minutes. It takes 10 minutes to go through it at normal speed. And this is going to be running like this every 10 minutes for the next 6 months at that Venice exhibit that we put up.
And you're basically seeing within just over 1 year, this is what happened to Palestine and to Palestinians.
I could assure you that hardly anybody in Europe knows this and knows what happened. So this is very important in terms of educating the West on what happened in 1948. In fact, I didn't realize that the scope of this and how this was going on. People thought there was a war and the Israelis won, and that's it. And that was the Nakba, and there were 750 or 800,000 refugees. But when you see the detail of how this happens on a day by day, you see the names of the villages come up, and each village has people in it. Our village has 7,000 people were living there. On April 25th, there were 0 people left in that village. And where did all this 7,000 people go? They went all over the place.
And those 800,000 refugees today number, what, 5 million, something like that?
More than that, probably.
In Gaza alone are 2 million. And for those few who remained.
Now watch now, this is the total.
Yeah.
Those are the totals for each category of depopulation. 36 massacres. Okay. So let's take a little break from this. I'm sure this was a very very chilling experience watching that, and I can assure you also all the people from Europe, and when they see this, they're really shocked and surprised as to what happened and how they they had no clue that this was going on or happened or anything like that. So this exhibit is so important in terms of digging this up and educating the world about what is 1948 and what happened there. So let's just change gears here, and we're gonna go and play some music for you. We are going to listen to a segment from the concert that we had. Ronnie Mali, the oud player, is going to play for us a song that was in the concert there. And that song is called Palestine in Arabic. It was composed by the late Egyptian composer Muhammad Abdul Wahab, one of the most important musicians in the era. And this song is probably banned in some of the Arab countries because it is very, very revolutionary, very aggressive. But we had no trouble playing it in the heart of Europe there. So we want to share it with you now.
And if you'd like to share it later with your friends, I will also post a link.
Yeah, there's the entire concert that Ronnie Mali played is on our YouTube channel, and Krista will put a link to the whole concert. And again, Krista, confirm audio for me, please.
I will do that.
This next piece is actually a piece by request by Mr. Faisal Saleh, and this is a piece I grew up playing from when I was a child and hearing it because my father introduced it to me. And this is a piece by the very famous Egyptian composer Muhammad Abdul Wahab. And it's a piece that he dedicated to Palestine, and he called it Palestine. And it calls for people coming together, getting up, and revolting against what was basically considered an occupation, a threat. And I look at the words of this particular piece as a metaphor also, that today we still have our revolution, and we do it today, instead of guns and bombs, with music, with art, with our words, and with our minds. We are a people.
يغصبون العروبة مجد الأبوة والسكر
فجرد حسامك من غمده فليس له بعد أن يغمدا فجرد حسامك من غمده فليس له بعد أن يغمدا أخي أيها العربي الأبي يورى اليوم موعدنا للغدا أخي أيها العربي الأبي يرى اليوم موعدنا للغدا أخي أقبل الشرق في أمة ترد الضلال وتحيي الهدى صبرنا على غدرهم قادرين وكنا لهم قدرا مرصدا صبرنا على غدرهم قادرين وكنا لهم قدرا مرصدا طلعنا عليهم طلوع المنون فصاروا هبا وصاروا صدا طلعنا عليهم طلوع المنون فطاروا هبا وصاروا صدا أخيكم إلى قبلة المشرقين لنحمي الكنيسة والمسجد أخي إن جرى في تراها دمي وأقبض فوق حصال اليد أخي إن جرى في تراها دمي وأقبض فوق حصال اليد ففتش على مجهة حرة أبدا يمر عليها العدا أخي جرى في تراها دمي وأضبط يوما وأخطاها الهدى فقبل شهيدا على أرضها دعا باسمها الله واستشهدا قبل شهيدا على أرضها دعا باسمها الله واستشهدا فلسطين يفدي حماك الشباب وجل الفداء والمفتدى فلسطين يفدي حماك الشباب وجل الفداء والمفتدى فلسطين تحميك من السجون وإما الحياة وإما الردى
Incredible performance. Thank you, Faisal. You can just see how Ronnie's music and his voice just really touched the audience, and I'm sure it touched all of you as well. It's really
Is
just so
anybody
powerful.
any people in the audience who speak Arabic? Raise your hand if you do.
I know we have someone attending from Yafa.
Hmm.
There's at least one of you out there. More than that.
Okay, so we see one hand. This song is very emotional for Palestinians. Yeah, it's but anyway, just to let you know, we will be going over time, probably about 30 minutes, because we always takes longer to get through a lot of these things than what you planned. So we're going to go back and show some of the recreated villages that they were recreated from archival material. Usually it's a virtual reality tour of the villages, but in this case, we will be showing a video that shows that. Okay, so we will go back to monitor 6.
This is the next best thing of going to Venice. So of course, if you have the opportunity to travel to Venice to see this exhibit live, I encourage you to do so. It runs through November 26th of this year.
Second, please. Having some issues with something here. Okay, we're gonna go do a share. And this is the village of Zerain. And what you're gonna see, this village doesn't exist, totally destroyed. What you're gonna see is the work of the architect to recreate the village from archival photographs. Should be some audio with this.
Yeah, I can hear.
This, along with 2 other videos for 2 other villages, play on one monitor, and they repeat every several minutes, and we'll be repeating and playing for 6 months. Just imagine if you're from that village, you can see where your parents, grandparents were, and the kind of houses they lived in, and possibly which house was theirs, if you know the map of the village. This architect is planning on doing a lot more villages. This is just the beginning, the 3 villages.
Just incredible.
What's cooking? This is very eerie.
Yeah, it's incredible.
see
It's like
the-
here, there.
You see the sheets blowing in the wind on the line. It's so real. It's near Lake Tiberias. You're going to see now, these are the photographs that the architect used to create the village from. These are the archival photos.
Zeryan was actually depopulated and destroyed in late May of 1948,
Okay.
after the establishment of the state of Israel.
So we're going to go to the next village now. And the next village is, we're going to do Tantura. Some of you have seen Tantura. One second here.
Today, the village lands of Zerayin have a moshav called Avital that was established in 1953, and a kibbutz established in August 20th, same year, 1948, called Yisrael.
This is Tantura. This is the
You
simulation.
can hear the sea on the Mediterranean Sea.
This and the next village are much shorter than the Zerine. The Zerine one is 5 minutes long. You see the archival stuff, and then you see the simulation.
This is just south of Haifa on the Mediterranean coast.
It's a beautiful village. This is where the big massacre took place. Go to the next one. This is the village of Hattin coming up. This is where the Battle of Hattin took place, where the Salah ad-Din defeated the Crusaders.
see the way the Palestinian villages are nestled along the hillsides. Just incredible landscape. If
Right,
any of you
so-
spotted the terrace, it was like on top of the house, and there was a tool there. It's called the jarushi, where you used to grind the wheat
The
with
flour
two
mill.
stone discs. Yeah.
The next thing we are going to look at is the recreation of the neighborhood of Jaffa that's called Al Manshiyah, and that is coming up here. There will be monitor 7. Yeah. See that space heater there? Called Aladdin. Okay. The next thing, we're going to take a quick look at some of the student projects. So let me get rid of this out of the way. And this. And so here. So that could be monitor 1. Isophoria. Let's make this smaller. This is a rendering of the recreated town of Safaria, how it was imagined by the students who worked on this project. This is all new designs. It's an incredible video. the total plan for the whole village. Well, Krista, are you looking at the chat and questions or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been answering questions for people.
All right. Yeah, we could stop in a minute here. I'm just going to do maybe a couple more of these.
Do you know about that rendition, the last one you showed?
Yeah.
What were we looking at exactly?
That's the village of Safaria that was destroyed, and this is the students have worked on an urban plan of development for the village and built some of the common areas, and one of them was like a museum probably, and
Okay.
just a lot of things. There are additional, there are more things to it than the video. And all these videos are playing on monitors in the exhibit hall. If you look right behind me on my right, where the second chandelier is, that whole wall is full of monitors. There's 7 monitors there. And there's a shelf for all the photographs that we looked at. So let's see if we can do like one more. So let's take monitor 1, for instance. And share that.
And there you see Samia Halabi's piece that she made for the exhibit, just off your right shoulder.
Okay, so this is the village of Kula, and this is kind of you're going to see a lot of stuff here, and I'm just going to go quickly through. This is what the students submitted for the project, and a lot of detail. This normally runs 20 seconds for each plate here, and we're doing it just quickly so you get through it.
For those of you who don't know, most of the destroyed village sites are still open land. So the feasibility of having Palestinians return, rebuild their villages, restore their lives and livelihood it's not far-fetched at all. It just takes the political will and decency, honestly, to try to right the wrongs of history.
This is the village of Sahmata, the Sahmata project. Again, you could see like these are housing projects, different things. the mosque and
Wow,
the
look at that.
church. Yeah.
Incredible fountain and public space. The whole point of destroying people's homes and seizing the land is to give people nothing to come back to, but the land is there.
Yeah.
And as you can see, people can reimagine the future and people can rebuild. It wouldn't be the first time in history people had to rebuild after
This
their homes were
is,
destroyed.
the village of Suba, and we will. That's the last one we're going to show. You could see how the design interacts with the actual landscape and the topography. That looks like the museum there too. It's the village. Okay. So, whatever time we have, anybody in the audience would like to join us and talk or discuss, please raise your hands and we'll try to bring you on. Meanwhile, Krista, if you look over the comments to see if there's anything we need to respond to.
Yeah, I've just been responding while we're talking. One person brought up, would Palestinians move into settlements if they were made available to Palestinians? And from my understanding, Palestinians are not interested in living in Israeli settlements. They're interested in rebuilding their lives and their homes themselves. And
yeah,
I think when Israel, for example, pulled the settlements out of the Gaza Strip, everything was taken down and destroyed. Even things that could have been used, just in principle, they wanted to just reclaim their land and start over. So
anything in the Q&A?
let's see. Are there plans that the exhibit will be shown in other European countries?
It depends. It is somewhat difficult because most of the European countries are under Israeli control, if you will, and it's very difficult to do any Palestinian exhibits there. Even in Italy, I mean, we're part of some sort of an international event, and that kind of gives us the ability to show all this stuff and to show things that you could not show elsewhere. We will try to, we still have the art exhibit in storage in Italy. We will try to exhibit that in other cities in Italy and possibly in England, or we get people who want us to do it, but they have to secure a space that can be defended when they try to come in and cancel the exhibit. It is difficult, but having the ability to put this exhibit in Europe, this is not your typical art exhibit. This is an exhibit that's going after the Israeli narrative in a very big, aggressive way, and showing all this stuff that the Europeans have not seen before. So we hope that a lot of people will support us in this effort, and also to the extent they can, if they're traveling in Europe, to go in person to see the exhibit. And we expect about 100,000 people will visit the exhibit by the time it closes at the end of November.
Well, it's such an incredible collection of visual art, mixed media. You have the map on the floor with all the destroyed villages and all the places, original places of Palestine to see. as one contiguous unit. It's really an incredible exhibit and beautiful space as well.
Yeah, and of course, all these monitors that are playing the stuff that we saw and more. And there's a large 75-inch monitor that's screening films, like the films you see. And we're in the process of building up to about 10 films that will screen every day. And the visitors can come sit on benches and watch any of those films during the day. And we're trying to get clearance from some of the directors to screen their films there. We have one of the issues where we have is we need to have films with Italian subtitles because a lot of the people visit there, of course, are Italian.
Right.
And we're looking for volunteers who like to take an SRT file, which is a file that has the English subtitles with the time codes, and go in and replace the English ones with another language like Italian, for instance. It takes a little bit of time, but it's doable. We hope to have a number of films with Italian subtitles that we'll be screening there. But in the meantime, we screen films with English subtitles. The film has to have subtitles because we don't really turn the audio of the film on because it could interfere with other exhibits that we're doing. Keep in mind, we also have a playlist of Palestinian music of about 20 songs that are playing all the time at a not a very loud volume, but at a reasonable volume. You can hear it anywhere in the exhibit hall, and we keep adding songs to it. We're going to add Rani Ma'ali's Palestine song to the repertoire, to that playlist. So it will be repeating every hour or two. We already have some of the better known songs like Ana Dammi Falastini from Hamada Assaf. That's one of the songs, and we have several other classical songs that are in there.
His music was recently taken down from Spotify for that line.
I heard that it was put back.
Put back? Okay.
Yeah.
You have to fight these things. There's such an effort out there to cancel any information about the Nakba. It's like people want to suppress the truth, but it's really important to.
They're trying very hard. And like I said, it's almost impossible to do a Nakba exhibit anywhere. In fact, in Germany, you can't use the word Nakba. And people stood in the street and said they want to, commemorate the Nakba, and they got arrested. Yeah,
there was a really brutal shutdown of Nakba commemorations, particularly in Berlin this year. It happened again last year.
Yeah.
So it's really
we are very
shocking, actually.
Very proud of the fact that we did this in the middle of Europe, and it's out there for everybody to see, and it's on social media, and it's going to be in the press. So we are determined to be heard. And like I said, we have to maintain the Palestinian identity because it's the way that's going to debunk the Israeli narratives. This is definitely, we are challenging the Israeli narrative in a very big way with this exhibit.
Well, the Palestinian narrative has been silenced for too long, and I think the Israeli narrative has been privileged for too long. And there are definitely a lot of pieces left out of the story that need to be heard and reconciled with. So
I wanted to share a couple of things from our Instagram page. So that's just, we did have a Palestinian flag in there. We usually don't show flags at the exhibits because, we want the exhibits to speak for themselves. And
the Palestinian flag is now banned in public spaces inside Israel. And so in these current demonstrations, people who want to raise the Palestinian flag are drawing them on boxes and still being arrested for holding a box with the image of the Palestinian flag.
We could send this message to them here. Let me see, where is the flag? We had one here. Oh,
Faisal, one of our viewers is suggesting that you reach out to Ireland, that they would be supportive of hosting
Yeah, they're
the
probably
exhibit.
hosting, but we need money to move the exhibit.
Right,
there.
that's a tricky move all the way to Ireland, or Northern Ireland for that matter.
We're happy to move it anywhere, but I mean, it costs a fortune to do it where it is now. I don't know what happened to that picture. Well, it's a picture that maybe we never posted it yet. We haven't posted it on Instagram. Maybe we did that on Facebook. But some people at the after the concert, they pulled that out, and we were talking about it. Well, look for it. We'll post it on Facebook and Instagram shortly. Oh, there it is. I have it on my phone, so let me send it down to the computer. And
so can people order the museum catalog, the exhibit catalog, if they live outside the US? How can they access it?
We're working on that. We're going to be shipping that out of Italy, and we have somebody who's going to stock it in Italy. But just give us 2 or 3 weeks to get that in place. We can't ship out of the US. It's very complicated and costs a lot of money. So let me find out the thing I just sent that would show the flag.
Someone's mentioning the
Yes, go ahead.
The historic remembrance definition of anti-Semitism, and how that really contributes to canceling information or any criticism of Israeli policy or discussion of the past or the Palestinian narrative. Basically, that definition, those who have adopted it equate any criticism of Israeli policy or historical events with anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Which of course is inaccurate.
So let me share
distortion
with
of
you.
the truth.
Let me just share. See this? Everybody see the picture?
Yes, yeah, there it is.
You see, we're standing on the map of Palestine right under our feet. That map is a walk-on map. People can walk on it for months and won't affect it. The people had the map folded and they handed it to me, and I said, all right, let's take a picture. All right, so I think we are going to wrap up here. So next weekend, we have a film on Saturday, and we have a book event on Sunday, and the book event is Krista's book, and we will have some on it in the mailing that will come out on Monday. So look out for that mailing, and also there'll be a film like the film we showed recently that was called Jews Step Forward. This one about the voices from the inside, it's called. It's about similar film. We're talking to Israelis about Palestine and what they think of Palestine. And that will be next Saturday. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you, Krista, for your help, and thanks for people who joined us today. This event was recorded, and we will be placing it on our YouTube channel shortly, and we'll let
hopefully
you know.
You'll be inspired to travel to Venice to see the exhibit live.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And as we always say, ma salama. Bye bye.
Ma salama.